It's time for Baby and Toddler Instructions with host Blythe Lippman. Blythe is a nationally renowned infant and toddler expert who has over 30 years' experience helping moms and dads regain their sanity, teaching them how to survive, and giving them the confidence they need to be the best parents ever. From sleeping to crying to potty training to choosing a preschool and so much more. If you're a parent, Baby and Toddler Instructions is the show you've been looking for. Now here's your host, Blythe Lippman.
Well, good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time zone you might be in. Welcome to Baby and Toddler Instructions. Thanks so much for tuning in if this is your first time. Again, my name is Blythe Lippman. I am the author of Help, My Baby Came Without Instructions, More Help, My Baby Came Without Instructions, and Help, My Toddler Came Without Instructions. So if you have little ones, babies, toddlers, I can help. I do video, I do home consults, I do Skype, and you can always call me. My office number is 480-510-1453. And let's see what we have for today. Well, first of all, I hope all of you and your family are back on schedule after the holidays. My tip is try this if you have children under 4. Honestly, I don't care how many dishes you have. I don't care about the laundry. You need to have great energy. So when your baby takes a nap, your toddler takes a nap, or even some quiet time, just take a few minutes. A 20-minute power nap does wonders. And by the way, check out my website, mybestparentingadvice.com. I just added some new of my favorite tips about how to get back on that schedule. Anyway, what else do we have? Well, a busy show today. Connie Gruning from Peanut Butter and Wine and sign language instructor Jody Finlinson will be with us in just a bit. But quick, I have to say I am visiting my mom in New Jersey, and I can't remember being so cold. It is just freezing here. This is really funny. I tried to do a snow angel. It makes myself laugh because Connie Gruning actually asked me to send her a picture of a snow angel. And so it was snowing here, and I tried to lay down and do the snow angel and take a selfie. Don't try this, because all you could see is up my nose. It was so funny, so I never did post it or send it anyplace. Anyway, I thought I would share that, so I hope your weather is good, and if not, I hope it gets really sunny and not too cold. Also, let me tell you very quickly before I welcome Connie, a couple recalls, actually a bunch of them. The Star Ride Kids Children's Pajama Sets. The pajamas don't meet the federal flammability standards, and they pose a risk of burn injuries to children. The Comfort Research Vinyl Beanbag Chairs, the zippers on the chairs can be opened by children who can crawl inside, yikes, and get entrapped and suffocate or choke on the foam beads. The BRP Skidoo and Can-Am Kids hoodies, they have that drawstring that can go around the neck. They can become entangled or caught on slides, doors. Anyway, the Kitty Corral Pink Pony hoodies, same thing with the drawstrings. Also, the Giggles International Animated Monkey Toy. The battery compartment can reach temperatures up to 230 degrees, posing a burn injury. That's scary. And last but not least, IKEA Visa Crib Mattresses. The mattresses, there's a gap between the mattress and the crib ends, larger than allowed by the federal regulations, posing an entrapment hazard to infants. By the way, don't try to fix these things yourself. Honestly, don't finagle them. Call the companies. Go to my website, babyinstructions.com, and mybestparentingadvice.com. Go to recalls, and they're all up to date. The phone number's there. The websites are there. So a lot of recalls today. And let me welcome Connie to the show, because she's going to be on first and tell us what's hot and what's not in 2015. Good morning, Connie. Are you there?
I am. Good morning. And thank you so much for trying to do a snow angel.
I tried my best, but you don't want to see up my nose. It was pretty funny.
I love that. I just love you. Thank you so much for that.
Thanks. It's mutual. Okay, so peanutbutterandwine.com. Everybody, if you're at your computers, take a look. If not, look later if you're on your smartphones, but I hope you're not driving. So what's hot this month? And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, too. This is from Onite, and this is the coolest little gadget. It's a 32 gig USB little charger, or little USB for your, computer stick. But what makes this unique is it goes to your smartphone. You pull off all of your ringtones, all of your photos, and then immediately can put it into your computer. It's moving all of I had over 1,000 pictures on my cell phone. No wonder it was going so slow.
Wow. And tell my listeners, too, that they can win these, that they don't have to go buy them off your site.
You can win one of these. And the giveaway doesn't close for another 8 days. And this thing is the handiest little thing. So you can read all about that. Another one I have is this amethyst necklace from Jewelry TV. This is the prettiest necklace, and you can't buy it anymore. It's sold out on JTV. It's sold out. The only other one available is the one you can win off of my site. And
it's a beauty, and I know Josephine from Paying It Forward, the show before me, was just raving about this and goes on the site every day and tries to win it. Beautiful. I'm looking at it.
Isn't that the prettiest necklace?
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my gosh. The next up is the iPad Air keyboard. Now, it weighs less than 5 ounces, and it doesn't have any wires. It doesn't need charging. It doesn't need connecting. And it's for the iPad Air or the iPad Air 2. So you can win one of those. They are so amazing. It literally types it is a real keyboard, but it doesn't have to be charged. And it comes in its own little case. Very, very unique. Something that this is, and you can win either one. You can win the iPad Air or the iPad Air 2 for that one. The next up is Tootsie Roll Hot Cocoa, but it's K-Cup.
Yum.
And it's got all the really good flavors like the Junior Mints and the Charleston Chew, and it's a 40-pack that we're giving away, so that's a good one. The next up is the Shoe Spa. Oh, my goodness. These are comfortable shoes, whether you choose flats or you choose heels. You can win one pair up to $250. So comfortable. So now you don't have to choose between whether they look good or they feel good. Which one do you want? Do you want your feet to hurt at the end of the day, or do you want your feet just to look good? Now you can combine both. And of course, then I have the two that I host myself, just to say thank you to my followers, is the Diamond Candle or $25 in PayPal. The Diamond Candle, each and every candle has either anywhere from a $10 ring up to a $5,000 ring inside. And once you burn the candle down, there's a little foil piece, and you open that up, and it's got a little tag on it that shows you can go onto your site and onto their site and see how much your ring is valued at.
Fun, an extra surprise. What could be better than that?
Nice? And it's a candle that smells good, and you get a ring. And they've got, I have a couple of pictures on my site that my followers have sent. These are some pretty rings. And then also the $35 giveaway as well. And one last one is I have two more. I have the votive candles. These are more of a Christmas theme, but it'd be good to put back for next year. It's very pretty. It's a 5-piece with LED lights inside and a silver tray. Very elegant looking. Would look really pretty on somebody's mantle. And then the redwood planter. We have to think spring's eventually coming, right?
Yes, I hope so.
So the
especially where I am.
The redwood planters, those are just so pretty. I think those would be just beautiful. Sitting in the front yard, those would be very nice. And that's all I have for today.
Well, that's enough. I'll tell you what. If you're listening, go on Peanut Butter and Wine every day and just go in there, log in. It's so easy to try to win these wonderful products. And I can't wait till February when you come back, because I'm wondering, will there be more for Valentine's Day?
Oh, I have some great things planned for Valentine's Day. Everything from something for the kids all the way up to adults. So, yes, I have lots of giveaways coming for February.
I can't wait, and I can't believe it's 2015. Boy, this year went so quickly, didn't it?
So fast. Time is just, I remember being 16 thinking, I will never be 18. I will never be able to move. I will never, and then now I would love to go back to 16.
Me too, if I knew then what I know now. And I'll tell you what, it's funny because when you meet people, like if you go to a doctor, a new eye doctor or something, they look like they're 12. Everybody looks older to me. It's like they're babies, and they're not. They're like 30 years old.
I went to a new doctor, and the nurse came in after the doctor left. I went, God, he looks so much younger than me. And she goes, honey, he is so much younger than you. Oh, well, fine.
It almost makes you wonder. You think, well, do they know what they're doing? I mean, they look so young. It's pretty funny. It's really pretty funny. So how's your granddaughter, Alice, and your other grandchildren? How old is she now?
She is 3, and she is just she's just a kick. I am blessed to be able to spend my days with her. She is so funny. She just cracks me up. Now her new thing is when I do something and she'll say, Nani, that is wrong.
That's so funny. I told you I'm going to be a grandma in May. Yay. I'm so excited. And I can't wait because I ran into a friend that I hadn't seen in 20 years, and she said, you can't believe how great it is to be a grandma. There's nothing like it. It's just the best. Nothing. It's different. And she said, and a really good part of it is you get to sleep all night. So,
yes.
So I thought, yeah, that could be good. You get your cake and eat it too. Well, Connie, thank you so much for being on the show. I love having you on every month, and I love going to your site. And again, the site is peanutbutterandwine, WHINE.com. Go on there. Connie has the greatest gifts. And also go and look at her entire website. It is so cute. When she shares everything, I love what she calls her family. I'm not going to tell you. You have to go take a look yourself. So, Connie, I will talk to you in February, first Wednesday in February, to talk about Valentine's Day. Have a great day. Thanks for being on the show. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
We'll be right back with more Help My Baby Came Without Instructions. It's Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet. We'll be right back right after these. Homeschooling? Have questions? Get your pen and paper ready. It's the sociable homeschooler, Vivian McNinney. Fridays at 5, 4 Central on TogiNet.com. After a handsome blue-eyed Texan fell in love with Vivian at the Victoria Station in London, she found herself at DFW Airport with a tiny suitcase and a snazzy little duffel bag. Well, 25 years later, she is now happily married to that blue-eyed cowboy. They have 4 grown children ages 24 to 18 who became willing guinea pigs when she unwittingly stumbled upon the world of homeschooling. Wildflower Academy flourished for 15 years. They survived and thrived, and you can too. Vivian will be covering a wide range of issues that face homeschoolers. What do you do with kids in the summer? How to set up your one-room schoolhouse? How obedience is paramount? And what to do with those snakes? Plus, you'll be sharing ideas and insights that she gleaned from other homeschoolers. So join us for an engaging hour with the sociable homeschooler, Vivian McNinney. Friday afternoons at 5, 4 Central on TogiNet.com.
Goals, objectives, business and action plans. How important are they for me to manage? Whether you're an executive, entrepreneur, or maybe you're just someone looking to advance your career and want to be confidently prepared for your future, business and life coach Carmen Carroza can help you remove obstacles and move forward in the right direction. Carmen is known as the real-world coach for a reason. His no-nonsense style, along with an innate ability to form connections with people, gives you a unique opportunity to see higher and further than ever before. We live and work in an ever-changing, complicated world that can leave us with questions about every decision we make. Join host Carmen Carroza, business and life coach, on Forward Motion every Monday at 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern. You will realize dreams and aspirations you thought were out of reach.
Welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet, the hour for all moms with little ones to come for great advice, encouragement, and great ideas for all new parents. Now, back to the show with Blythe Lipman.
Well, welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions. I am so excited to be on the show with you today. And if you are listening, I am going to welcome my guest, Jody Finlinson. But before I do, I want to tell you, if you have any questions for Jody or a comment or just want to say good morning, you know how I love callers. You can call us at 877-864-4869 or go to toginet.com, TOGINET.com. And there is a chat line, and you can type it if you're chicken, but call us. 877-864-4869. And let me tell you about Jody Finlinson. She is a sign language instructor and fell in love with sign language at a young age by watching a cousin of hers communicate with her mother, and she knew she wanted to be able to communicate in such a beautiful way. She has certification through the award-winning Signing Time program, attended and took classes for ASL interpretation certification, and she's worked in many school settings from preschool to 8th grade. Enjoying helping children and others in the learning process, she is driven to spread the word about the power of signing, provide support for families, and demonstrate that signing is beneficial and fun for all children, regardless of their age or ability. She started her own business, My Little Hands Can, 2 years ago, and taught in different locations to a wide variety of students. It's never too late or too early to integrate sign language into your daily lives. And Jody learned that firsthand the joy signing with your little ones can bring. The experiences she had with her own two boys inspired her to become an instructor and wanted to share the same amazing benefits. And I have to say, good morning, Jody. Welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being on with us today. How are you?
I am doing great. Blythe, back in the wonderful Arizona where it's going to be 70 degrees today, and it's a gorgeous morning.
Oh, don't tell me that. Snow. Don't rub it in. It's going to be 23 here today in New Jersey. I'm coming home. Anyway,
bring it home. It's gorgeous.
I have to tell you, I took care of a little baby. She was under a year old, and she knew how to sign. And I wish I had the time to learn, and I learned some of the signs. It is the most amazing thing, and I think it's just so helpful for moms because, little ones, 6 months old, they don't know their words, but they can use their hands. So it's just awesome. So we know how you got into this because I read your wonderful bio, but, tell parents a little more because you look at a baby and you think, how are they going to know what you're talking about?
Well, the greatest thing that people forget is that babies, just as how you would teach them any language, I mean, how many times do we say, Mom, 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 or Dad, to try to get them to repeat that word, because everybody wants to say Mom before Dad, right? It's just the way it goes. So it's the same sort of concept. You sit down with that child and you repeat the sign over and over and over again. One thing that I love to tell people are like, well, I'm not fluent in sign. Okay, learn one word, eat, or drink, or milk. And every time you give that child the bottle, or is breastfed, or it's time to eat, you sign that word. When they see you eating, you sign that word. Just in the same way that they start grasping concept of the way you talk and the things that you do, they grasp the concept of sign. But it is so much easier for them to communicate through body movements than it is through talking because they don't have complete control of those vocal cords, and adding those sounds is hard, as where their hands and stuff are, their skills in that level come earlier than their voices do.
Right, and and it is about repetition. Ma, 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 da, 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 more. What do you think the best word is for a parent to communicate? Is it more? Is it
more
finished?
And milk. More, milk, and all done. I'm like, those are my 3 top words. I was telling people, I've got 3 top words. You need to know more because there could be more play, more food, more milk, more birds, more balls. You need to know all done because then they can communicate with you when they're finished with something. I don't want to do that anymore. And then milk, because every child from birth requires some sort of milk, whether it be the cow's milk, the formula milk, breast milk, it doesn't matter. So those are my 3
favorite signs that I always tell people start with. I'm like, and they're all really easy. Everybody can do those 3 signs. It's not a difficult sign. It's an easy sign, and kids can do it. My son's first one was more. He did more first.
I'm trying to think back to this little girl, and I can honestly say when we signed, she didn't take her food and throw it on the floor. That's part of the maturity. They do it because it's cause and effect. However, a lot of kids, babies and toddlers, will throw the food on the floor because they're bored and they're finished, and they don't know how to say all done. And when we use that sign, this little girl did not throw her food on the floor because I knew what she meant.
Exactly, because you're taking the frustration out of it. I mean, even as adults, when somebody isn't quite understanding exactly what we're saying to them, it's frustrating. You know, we try different ways to try to communicate it to them, and if they're just not getting it, I mean, I know as an adult, I go, you know, you get upset. Imagine this coming from a little, 6-month-old to a 5-year-old, and they're looking at you because your mom or your dad or grandma or whatever, and you should know what I want. How come you don't get it? But as soon as they're able to sign it to you and you get it, both frustrations are taken out, yours and theirs. And they're like, wait, that was so easy. I don't have to get upset. I don't have to throw my food. I don't have to fall on the ground and kick and scream because they don't get it. And it's so awesome to get to see them be able to, you see the light go on in their eyes when, okay, she just signed more and you gave her more Cheerios. And she's like, wait, I got exactly what I wanted and I didn't have to do the temper tantrum.
No, well, while you're talking about that, avoiding the terrible twos with sign language, let's talk about that. And not every child has terrible twos. Some have terrible threes and some don't have any.
Yeah. No, definitely. My oldest, he was signing. We started with him from day one because, first child and a little bit of an overachiever with that one. Day one, and so he was signing back to me at 6 months, and people go, oh, are you ready for the terrible twos? I never experienced the terrible twos or the threes with him. It was so much easier because he could communicate to me exactly what he wanted when he wanted it. And I think a lot of people don't understand that that's sometimes where the terrible twos or the terrible threes come from, is from a frustration of not being able to communicate, which is the most basic and necessary thing that any child and parent needs. Especially another way that you're avoiding the terrible twos with teaching sign languages, because you have your own way to communicate with your child. That's a bond that you get, which is, you can't replace that. There's something special about being able to communicate with your child from a very young age. You're teaching, they're learning, and you can be learning together. That's something that you share. So now not only are you getting rid of frustration, but you're creating a more secure, safe bond that that you and your child know how to communicate.
What's the best age to start?
I always say there is no wrong or right age to start with them. It's never too late and it's never too early. I have people who start much later in life. I have some that start at 18 months. I always say the greatest age that you can start is between that 6 to 9 month period. I call that the parrot stage because they will copy anything and everything you do. That's when, you wave bye-bye and they want to do that. When you clap your hands, they try to do it. Call my little parrot stage. That 6 to 9 month window is amazing. And about 9 months is when you should start being able to see some signing back if you're using it repetitive enough. But, I currently have a family that I'm teaching that their son didn't start until he was 3. He's nonverbal, and he's already got 75 words down, and we've only been working for like 7 months. And it's just, so they went from having no communication to now he can talk to them. And so I always say, I'm like, it's never too late. I didn't start until I was 14 is when I finally started being able to take classes. So I'm like, it's a language, just like how you would learn Spanish or Chinese or anything like that. It's never too late or too early to start.
And it's so interesting. It's just so interesting. I have to share this too. My guest last week was John Edwards, and he is a parenting expert in Australia, and we talked about conscious parenting. And the name of my show was Mommy, You're Not Listening. And you talk about frustration with this. You really do become the conscious parent because you're both bonding and you're both using the same signs. And that's just another piece to be a conscious parent, but it's so easy.
Yeah, because not only are you doing the auditory listening and the visual listening, but now you're using your hands, and so there is a physical sense to it as well. There's, so you're hitting all three notes, and so that connection is very deep. I always say when I am having a sign language conversation with somebody, I'm like, it's so amazing because when it's emotional, it's emotional. When it's upset, it's upset. Those emotions come out because you are using body language. And so I think it's 10 times more than just sitting there and talking to somebody, because you get those feelings that those people are having, which is a great bond to have with your child.
It is. You know what? And I have a friend, and I don't know if she's listening. She said that she started taking sign language classes a long time ago, and she's really excited about you being on the show today because she wanted to learn it again. And, I know her children are grown, but I think for anybody, just to learn what the signs are. I mean, I'm very excited to talk to you some more after the show because I'm going to have a grandchild, which I keep saying people are going to get sick of hearing it until May.
No, I think it's awesome.
But I'm really excited, and I haven't talked to my daughter and son-in-law about how they feel about using sign language with some of the words, because I think, for years people thought, and I know you hear this all the time, people thought that you only use sign language if somebody was deaf. And you know what? That's not the case. But we're going to break for a commercial in just a few seconds. And when we come back, I want you to talk about some of the myths about teaching sign language. Because I know for years when I see people sign, you just assume they can't hear. And that really doesn't have to be the truth, does it?
No, not at all. It's very much a multi-use language.
Well, when we come back, we're going to talk about that, and I don't want to put you on the spot, so I'll prepare you. I'm going to have you tell my listeners one of the signs, because I know they're so easy you can explain it on the radio, and I think it would be great so they can see how it's really not that difficult. So I am here today with Jody Finlinson, and she is from My Little Hands, and we're talking all about sign language. It is just so awesome. Everybody should call her, look at her face, go to her Facebook page and like it. She's just great. So stay with me. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back with more help. For help, my baby came without instructions. It's Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet. We'll be right back right after these.
Welcome to Podcasting by Professionals. My name is Keith with Radio Links Broadcast Marketing, and I am here today to introduce you to 5 top industry pros who will teach you everything you need to know to start your own professional podcast. At the end of the course, we think you'll be well on your way to becoming an expert host of your own show. By the way, please do visit our website. It is podcastingbyprofessionals.com.
Words you never heard.
As Christmas draws near, here are some interesting holiday traditions from other countries. Folks in Finland visit the sauna on Christmas Eve. Since Christmas arrives in Australia in the middle of the 100-degree summers, crowds of Aussies celebrate on the beaches with beer and Skittles. The Eskimos celebrate a winter festival called Sink-Tuck, dancing and exchanging gifts. In 1828, the American minister to Mexico, Joel Poinsett, brought a red and green plant to America. The colors were perfect for Christmas, so the plants, named after Mr. Poinsett, started appearing in stores. What's a word for a person's name that ends up in the dictionary, such as a poinsettia? It's called an eponym.
It's words you never heard.
I'm Carolyn Davidson, and Words You Never Heard has been brought to you by the Bariatric Surgery Center of Dallas.
Welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet, the hour for all moms with little ones to come for great advice, encouragement, and great ideas for all new parents. Now, back to the show with Blythe Lipman.
Well, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in today, or if you're listening to a podcast, thanks for listening. You can always contact me via my website, mybestparentingadvice.com. There's a contact form. I do in-home videos, Skype appointments if you just need a little parenting help, or you can call my office at 480-510-1453. I'm here today with my wonderful guest, Jody Finlinson. She is a sign language instructor, and we're talking about teaching your little ones to sign. So before the break, I asked her if she would, first of all, tell my listeners one of the signs, just a simple word you could teach your 9-month-old. Say what it is. I know it's really easy.
Okay, so the one that we talked about already is more, which is a really simple sign and a great sign to use with any age because you can use it in many different facets of your life. And what you're going to do is you take your two hands and you take all of your fingers and you connect them to your thumb on both sides. And then you're just going to simply double tap them almost like your fingers are kissing. And that's more. Super simple, really easy to do. And kids can repeat it quite easily. And so I also always refer to it. So if you held your hands in an O position, it's almost like a flattened O. And then you just kiss your fingertips.
It's so easy. And you know, a lot of the signs are just as easy as this, and it really helps prevent the frustration when you have little ones that are not old enough to use their words. So why don't you dispel some of the myths about sign language? I know I've also, besides the fact of hearing that sign language is only used by people that are deaf, I also have had people say, well, I don't want to teach my child signs because it's going to delay their speech. They're not going to use their words. So let's talk a little bit about that.
All right, so the first one is that only those who are deaf or hard of hearing actually use sign language, where it's actually quite the opposite, especially with a lot of the disabilities and stuff that are going around with autism and nonverbal children and Down syndrome children. A lot more people are using it, besides the fact that our parents are using it with children. But imagine that you come up to a case where you are trying to communicate with a hard of hearing or a deaf person, because you will run into those cases. I specifically, whenever I go to Target, there's a lady in Target, her name is Kelly, and I always run into her on purpose because she's the cashier, and on her little sign it says I'm deaf, and I'm always so excited that I get to talk to somebody. So there are cases that you can do that you can run through. I also like to use it around my house with my own children, or when we're at church or anything else where it's a quick sign to them to get them to be quiet or to understand something without having to use our voices. But it's not just for deaf people. There are so many uses for it in and outside of your home, which is one of the huge myths. But one of the biggest myths that I constantly get bombarded with, and you hit it on the head, is that I'm not going to teach my kids sign language because they won't speak then. And this myth is farthest from the truth. It's actually been said quite the opposite happens when you teach your child sign language. They actually begin to speak sooner. Because what people forget is that when you're signing, it doesn't mean you have to turn off your voice. Every time I sign a word to somebody who is hearing, and even when I have communications with deaf, I am also still using my voice. So when you're signing with an infant and you sign the word more that we just learned, I would say more. I would say ball if I was signing ball. And usually those kids who are signed, they've done studies, actually speak first and have larger vocabularies than those of the people who did not learn sign language, which is a huge benefit because that also leads into early literacy skills, which many people don't think about. I mean, my son's vocabulary from a very young age was extraordinary. I remember a conversation I had with him when he was 4 years old and said, Mom and Dad, I think you need to come to have another discussion and come to a different conclusion. And this was coming out of a 4-year-old.
Wow.
So I know that it has an effect on the way they learn because he already had so many words signing, so then it was just natural to continue on that communication spree to learn all these different words and syntax and all the stuff that comes with it. So that's and then I always use an example. I said, how many of you have taught your baby how to sign bye-bye or bye? And were you ever afraid that they then would not say goodbye or hello because they were waving? And most of the time you'll get the answer in the shake of the heads and go, wait, no, they didn't. That was one of their first words, or, it's close to their first words. I go, it's the same concept. You're not afraid of something. You're just adding to it. And it's been proven on many different things. Any type of language. Children pick it up so much quicker than us adults because our brain is stuck in one general motion, as where kids is just like a giant sponge. So you're only adding to their knowledge and their ability to learn. So
it's
does
funny.
Not slow speech.
I love that example about bye-bye. And I was in a restaurant last week, and there was the most adorable little baby with his grandparents. And, you never see a parent sign to say bye-bye. They will always say bye-bye, and the baby waves. So it's like a double treat to teach them at the same time the words. I am so glad that you clarified that, because I've also had parents say that to me too, because I've shared that I've worked with babies that can sign, and it is just awesome, and they'll go, no, I don't want to do that. So I'm going to have this discussion with my daughter too, or maybe when I take care of the baby when he's here, maybe I can try it. Also, can you tell my listeners what's the difference between ASL, is that American Sign Language, versus baby signs?
Yes, the big difference between ASL and baby sign language is American Sign Language, and this is another myth that goes with sign language, that sign language is international. It's not. There's Spanish Sign Language, British Sign Language. There's a whole bunch of different things out there. But American Sign Language is actually the language that is utilized in the deaf community. It is a real language. As where baby signs is what the word I'm going to use here is called a home sign. That's a sign that has been modified or changed, or you made up that it's something that you now know. So, like, if you constantly had a binky, if you made up a sign that wasn't an American Sign Language sign, but your child understood that you were meaning a pacifier and they were meaning a pacifier, that would be considered a home sign, which is more of what baby sign language is. I tend to stick to the American Sign Language because I think it's amazing that a kid can learn an actual physical language. There's nothing wrong with baby sign language. It does a great job. It does its job. It will end the frustration for you. It's just a preference on what you want to be able to do, and they will be able to use it later in life if they actually learn American Sign Language or another official sign language instead of the baby signs, which are kind of modified.
So are the signs the same? Obviously, the words are going to be in Spanish or in French if they're teaching sign language to children with other languages. But are the signs the same, just the words are different?
No, actually they are not. Like in the British alphabet, you use both hands to sign the British alphabet. And in the American Sign Language version, it's all done on one hand. So it's different, just like how somebody speaks Spanish and English, they do differ. American Sign Language is closely related to French Sign Language, since the first American Sign Language teacher was from France. But it's still not the exact same as the French Sign Language. So, yeah, people always go, oh, you can go anywhere and talk to anybody. I don't know, no, but you can try.
And they might get it. You know what's interesting, too, while you're explaining this, I was thinking we, as parents, teach our children signs and we're not even aware of it. I mean, I can remember telling my children when a mommy puts her hands on her lips, that means you have to stop talking. Exactly. I think we teach signing all the time and we don't even realize it, right?
Exactly. The bye-bye sign that you do. Clapping is a sort of a sign. I mean, you don't realize how much we actually do. The be quiet sign, or the when people do the, I see you sign, where they touch their eye and look out, that's a sign. I'm watching you. You're teaching them signs. You're teaching them the things, and your facial expressions go along with sign language as well. I don't think people realize that we use it as much and as often as we do. No,
what do you think of this? What about peekaboo? Aren't we teaching them something? Isn't that kind of a sign?
Yes, you're teaching them like hide. So you are teaching them the physical thing. And well, think about all the little finger plays and stuff that you do, like the itsy bitsy spider and stuff like that. Some of those are baby signs, but some of those songs and those words and those things that you're signing are actually signs. So you don't realize that you're doing it, but you're doing it. You're using your body to communicate, and you're signing. If you're using something on you, whether it be your face, your hands, or anything like that, your body language, you are signing.
So if a parent wants to teach their child a sign, how is there a time? I mean, every child's different, every parent's different.
Yes.
Do they know? Like if they try it, obviously you're not going to try it for a day, but do you try it for a month? How do you know what? We're going to break for a commercial in about 3 minutes, but if you can explain a little and we can go back into it if we go over.
Okay. Well, the thing is I always tell people on like 6 months is when they can really start grasping the thing. And usually if you are dedicated and you start at 6 months, most children will start signing back to you. They'll grasp the sign that you're signing, but they may not have that they may not have the hand motion just right. I usually say anywhere between 2 to 3 months, and they should be signing back to you. If you are consistent and doing it consistently, just as how you're consistently teaching them how to say mom, or you're consistently teaching them, to hold the bottle or the spoon. If you're constant with it, you should see signs quickly. I've seen some that have come back when they started teaching when the child was 9 months, that the child was signing in a couple of weeks. I usually say give it anywhere between 2 to 3 months if you stay on top of it at the 6 months. Now, if they're later in life, like a 2-year-old, they can sign back immediately. It's amazing because I've had several kids who are a little bit older in the class, and I would show them the sign, and they would do it right back. Quicker than they could have said.
You know what? This is so interesting because I have taught in preschools and set up the rooms, and this would be a great class to offer the children. Something, for in the preschool.
Yeah,
it would help the teachers too.
Preschool. Yeah, and I love teaching in the preschool, and I actually teach at my son's kindergarten class. I go in and we work on their alphabet and their spelling words. It's amazing. I mean, it doesn't have to be for just the baby. You can use it throughout your whole child's life and into the adult life. It doesn't have to stop. So, in the class setting, it's amazing. My little preschoolers knew all their colors, and we signed all of our songs as we sing along. They knew all their letters. So, and when you're learning it as a preschooler and even a kindergartner or older, you're talking about learning auditory, visual, and kinesthetic. Those are the 3 types of learning that there are, and you're doing all 3 at the same time. I can tell you right now that child's going to remember whatever it is that you're doing. That's how I do my son's, who's in 4th grade, spelling words. I make him sign it, say it, and all at the same time, and it sticks.
That's perfect. Well, we will be right back with Jody Finlinson to talk more about sign language.
We'll be right back with more Help My Baby Came Without Instructions. It's Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet. We'll be right back right after these.
Welcome to Podcasting by Professionals. My name is Keith with Radio Links Broadcast Marketing, and I am here today to introduce you to 5 top industry pros who will teach you everything you need to know to start your own professional podcast. At the end of the course, we think you'll be well on your way to becoming an expert host of your own show. By the way, please do visit our website. It is podcastingbyprofessionals.com.
Join us for Healing with the Marika Method. This is an amazingly informative show to help heal people as well as their horses, dogs, and cats. This show inspires and empowers people to take charge of their own health and their animals' health using the power of diet, nutrition, natural medicines, and lifestyle to heal a variety of health problems. Learn how food impacts all physical and emotional health conditions and how diet and natural medicines are used to heal the body, mind, and spirit. Marika is a health and nutrition specialist, homeopathic practitioner, a gifted medical intuitive and healer, and an author and educator with over 2 decades of experience in clinical practice for people and their pets. Join our host, Marika Vandewater, every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time right here on the Rockstar Radio Network.
Welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet, the hour for all moms with little ones to come for great advice, encouragement, and great ideas for all new parents. Now, back to the show with Blythe Lipman.
Well, welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions. Thanks for tuning in. I am here with my wonderful guest, Jody Finlinson, and we are talking about teaching your little ones or little older ones how to use sign language, and it is just so interesting. So I want to ask you, if a parent wants to teach sign language, is it easier if they hire somebody like you or they get a book? I want to give you the business because I would think I would want you to come to my house and show me how to do it, but what's the easiest way to do it?
Well, there are a lot of different options out there that you can get started with. Like there's the award-winning company, Signing Time, that I actually go through. They have videos and flashcards and CDs out and available that help you, as well as other sites like Signing Savvy and LifePrint. They're available. There's also availability of books at the library. I often find, though, when you first want to get started, talk to somebody, if you're not fluent, who uses sign language, or go to a class, or go, I'm kind of like you. I'm like, I would like someone to show me. Show me how to use this book and sign one word in it. Teach me some songs that I could constantly use with my child. They're fun, and keep the signs fresh in my mind. I'm more like you. I'd be like, sign me up. Somebody's going to show me how to do it, and then I can take home and do it in my own home. But there are things that you can get started out there with. There are books. There are the videos out there. Use your library. Use your resources. There are classes besides myself that are throughout the valley that I have seen a couple of times. Or find a person like myself who'd be more than happy to come into your home, or you can come and join the group classes. Either way, whatever works and fits with you, even if it's for a short little bit, just to get you started so that you have that base that you need and you would want. Because I don't want people to get overwhelmed because it's like, oh, I have to teach another language,
right.
And panic. But you don't have to do that. There are resources out there, and there are people out there who would love to help you.
So for my listeners that don't live in Arizona and aren't lucky enough to have Jody there, if you're going to Google it, what would you Google to find the right person to talk to?
Well, in the Signing Time, if you look up Signing Time, there are other ladies like myself who have started other businesses and actually do classes as well. So that is one great way to start, is to be able to go on there. But another great way that you can start is look up baby sign language. There are companies out there like We Hands that even offer classes in other states. I have a friend who does that in Texas. So there are things out there. But if you go in there and you Google baby sign language, there are a lot of programs set up, and there's even things that they'll send you class forms and the flashcards and kind of give you a step-by-step thing if you wanted to try to do it yourself.
There are a lot of resources, aren't there?
Yes, there are a ton.
I'm happy to hear that. So if you have a child in preschool and you don't have somebody coming in and it's something you want to do, you know what? Suggest it to your teachers or the director. But if a preschool does hire you, do they hire you? Is it like an extracurricular, like art or music or something if the children are very young, those first 4 years? Or is it part of the curriculum like a circle time?
They usually, with the younger kids, it's more of like a circle time that I get to come in during their first morning period, and we get to sit and discuss. And they've sent me their lessons plan so that I can integrate it into their lesson plan, whether they be learning their ABCs or their colors, or if they're learning their nouns and their verbs, or if there's a special holiday that they're coming up. Oh, my gosh, I love to do Christmas ones. So much fun with the little kids to teach them reindeer and Santa and to see the light on their faces. I've also worked in some of the older ones where they hire me as an extracurricular teacher, just like they would have a Spanish or an art or computers, and the kids actually get to come in and learn the sign language.
And I think, too, I have to say, I hate to admit this, I have taken Spanish. I took Spanish in high school for 5 years, and I wanted to learn how to be fluent in Spanish. I have gone to adult education 3 times, and I'm telling you, unless I can go someplace like you with the woman in Target, I had a couple people in Target that I knew spoke Spanish, and I would go in there and try to talk to them, and they would be hysterical. And my one thing I would ask them, because I always knew the word for dog, because I have 2 dogs, I would ask them where the dog food was, and I couldn't quite say it right, and they would laugh at me, and it was pretty funny. But I think too with the sign language, when a lot of us are more visual, and I think even for everybody, if you can actually see, your description was terrific for more, but if you can have somebody next to you showing you, I think we remember more. What do you think?
Oh, definitely, because most people are visual learners. They actually do better when they see it and then are able to do it instead of just being told over the phone. But with any language, just like you had said in Spanish, you kind of, if you're not using it, it can kind of slip away. But the thing is if you speak up and say something, it's so amazing since I started my company a couple of years ago, how many people now come up to me and start signing to me because they know I speak sign language. And I had no idea that they spoke it. And I'm like, wait a second, I didn't know you spoke sign language. And so then it's great. It's a little refresher course for both of us because there are people out there and people, just, hey, do you know sign language? And start talking to them so that you can use it. But if you're using it with your child on a daily basis, you're going to remember.
You know what? Just for children, for adults too. I mean, if I ever saw a meetup for sign language, if you know meetup.com.
Yes.
You should start a meetup for adults. I would come. I think it would be so interesting to learn how to do this because, you know what, we can always learn. It keeps our brains active. Not that I'm so old, but anyway, I don't want to admit it anyway.
Hey, my parents, it was so funny when my youngest started learning sign language and stuff, and they saw how quickly he picked it up and was doing it. And my dad, grandpa, sat there and went, I don't know what to do. So he came and stole all my baby signing time DVDs and went and watched them at home so that he could communicate with my son. So it's never too late to start. It doesn't matter the age, but so it's a joke that my dad learned sign language, some of his signs through baby signing time.
That's pretty funny. I think a meetup. I want to do a meetup. I think you should do that when I come back.
I think that would be a blast. I think we should definitely get it on there.
And I will go on Facebook and I'll promote too. Anyway, but this is about baby
and in the warm Arizona weather. I'm not going up where it's cold.
Yes, no, it's okay. I'll be back. Honestly, I do want to ask this: are most parents happy to have their children learn to sign?
Most parents, it's so funny when they start, they're a little bit wary. They're like, how am I going to do this? But they're excited and they're ready to have this great thing in their life. But you should just see, as soon as that child signs back, like everything clicks for them. They were excited to do it because they're usually I don't have people who are too far averted to it. They usually are like acceptable. Oh, this makes sense. This has practical, emotional, cognitive behavior. But, they're still a little timid. They're like, is this really going to work? And then their child signs back to them and they're like, oh my, this is so cool. You're like, I know, right?
It really is. What do you think the most difficult sign is?
Oh, my favorite, and I still to this day laugh because I was watching a Baby Einstein video and it had sign language on it. And one of the first words that they taught you was refrigerator, which is a 2-part sign. You're teaching children a 2-part sign, which is cold, and then you have to open and shut the refrigerator door. So
ooh, that's
funny.
difficult.
Like, why would you? This is a baby signing thing. The first ones you should be are like more, ball, all done. The really simple things. So there are some harder signs out there, but I will tell you, the hardest letters that I have ever taught any child how to do is the letter P and K because they're similar. They're just one is upside down and one is right side up. But the way you have to hold your finger and your thumb is hard for little hands to do. So I would say P and K, those are my stumbling blocks sometimes.
That's tough, because you do have to remember about their small motor coordination and where they are, age-wise. Right. And again, every child's different.
Right. Well, and the one thing that I always tell parents is if they don't do the sign perfect, but you know what they're doing, that's fine. I mean, how many times with our own children did we have them say, like, okay, my little 4-year-old for the longest time called Triceratops Heratops, but I would never fix it because I thought it was adorable.
Or what about spaghetti? Piscetti.
Yeah,
Biscotti.
Because
it's Piscetti.
So if you don't do it perfect, it's fine as long as you know what they're trying to teach you. And if you keep doing it right, they'll fix it, just like how they fix their words and their speech and everything as they go along. So it doesn't have to be perfect right at the beginning. If more is one closed hand to one open hand, but you know they're signing more, then that works. And they'll fix it as they get better and better at that skill.
Well, that's a great tip to end the show. I have to say goodbye to you. Please tell my listeners where they can find you.
You can find me at www.facebook.com/MyLittleHandsCan. All we have up and running right now is the Facebook page. I currently have 2 classes, group classes, coming up at Babytown in Gilbert, at Gilbert in the 202, starting next week. So we would love to have you, but you can also give me a call anytime. My phone number is on my Facebook page. Come on over and say hi. We'd love to have you.
And you all have to go. This was great. Thank you so much for being on the show. Enjoy 70 degrees. I'll think of you when I have my hat and gloves on today. Thanks again, and we'll have you on the show again. Take care, Jody.
All right. Thank you, Eli.
Bye-bye. Wow, what a busy and great show today. So much wonderful information. I will put all my guest information on my websites, babyandtoddlerinstructions.com and mybestparentingadvice.com. Also, I just, as I said, added some new favorite tips for the new year. Check them out. And if you know Baby Jake, he's been out of commission during the holidays. He must have been really busy, but I heard he will be back with his blog post and tips pretty soon. I can't wait. Also, if you're still having a struggle getting your little ones back on their nap and sleep schedule after the holidays, tune in next week. One of my favorites, Tracy Spackman, the Gentle Sleep Coach, will be on, and she can help. She knows her stuff. Also, go on Facebook. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+. I'm everywhere. I hope you don't get sick of that. And I post tips and pictures. I know you'll love my pictures. I love finding these cute baby pictures. So I want to leave you today with a laugh. Cleaning while you have kids is like brushing your teeth while eating Oreos. Isn't that the truth? And finally, I love Ray Romano. He cracks me up. If you don't know who Ray Romano is, Google it. You have to see. It's really funny. Ray Romano says, having children is sometimes like living in a frat house. Nobody sleeps, everything's broken, and there's a lot of throwing up. Well, you know what? They are both the truth, too. So I am so excited you could tune in today. Don't forget my first tip at the beginning of the show. If you're not on schedule, take a nap when your little ones take a nap, or take a walk, even better. Thanks for tuning in. I want you to have a great rest of the week. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.